Ready? Hi, welcome to Professor Kev show. As you can see, I got my friend Lucille with us, and she's baked by Lucille. Good morning, my friend. Thanks for coming on the show.
Good morning, Professor. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome, my friend. So before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself. What should I and the audience know about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Lucille Diso. I'm a rising junior from upstate New York. Um, I'm the owner of Baked by Lucille, a small local baking business in my area. I also recently founded a STEM club at my school and am also associating my baking business into charitable fundraising more recently with Baked for Cause, an initiative I'm starting. Outside of that, I enjoy spending time with my three younger siblings and our new puppy Frank, and also hiking.
Sounds like you got a pretty full schedule, my friend. So I want to talk a little bit about Baked by Lucille. I've been following you on Instagram, enjoying your post. As I was joking aboard the show, your stuff looks amazing and stuff. So I would definitely pick it up if it was near me and stuff. But talk to me about why you started this. What need, what opportunity did you see?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a need as it was just following my passion. See, I've enjoyed baking ever since I was a kid, whether it be with my grandma around the holidays, my sister, something just like fun to do. But then as I got older, more primarily in high school, baking became like an outlet for me, like something I did to unwind at the end of the day, something I did to show my gratitude and appreciation to others. So I would give my cookies to guidance counselors, friends, teachers, family, just as a way to say thank you. And then one time this past fall, my guidance counselor said, "Wow, Lucille, you should really start selling these cookies. Like they're so good. I would totally buy one," which I thought was like sort of funny because I hadn't really thought of that before. But at the same time, I was also looking for a way to give back to my community in a sort of community service way. I was looking at like places to volunteer, things like that. But I was like, it would be so cool if I could use baking to make an impact in my community. So that winter, I was able to sell my cookies at high school basketball games for my high school. What I thought would just be like a few games and maybe $100 or $200 turned into a full season and $1,400, which was more than I had anticipated. Beyond there, I still had that customer base, which I had developed throughout the community from basketball games, and that they followed me when I got my home processor's license approved in the early spring. I started selling at first at like a local hardware store, so definitely grew from there. And then now my customer base has followed me on Instagram into where I am today at 4 local retail locations.
I was joking with you before the show because I am your ideal customer. Like even if I was at the hardware store and I saw cookies, pretty good chance I'm going to buy one. Just because, I want to support local businesses, and especially if I knew your story of how young you are, then I'm definitely buying. It's just the way it is and stuff. But I'm fascinated by your business because you have to understand all pieces of it. You have to understand your costs, how to market it. You can't just like, "Hi, you want to sell my cookies?" Like, why, type of thing. And it's finding the right locations too, because they are cookies. I saw some granola, they're not going to stay in the store for 3 weeks before someone buys it. So how did you go about understanding your cost and where to sell and what products to make? What was your method behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely been challenges all along the way. Consistency has been the biggest challenge. So, for example, like I calculated all my costs to make each ingredient because I use like grams for that. Calculating each cent it takes to make each flavor cookie because they obviously vary on the scent. I was thinking about pricing my cookies for different like amounts based on the flavor, but overall it wasn't a huge difference. So my profit margin was pretty similar. I go for like a 60% profit margin for myself, and I try to keep that the same when I'm retailing to these local businesses, and when I'm selling at farmers markets. Since it's direct to consumer, obviously I make a little bit more, but definitely like keeping track of every cent and every transaction from my ingredients and like when things are going to be on sale, when I'm going to get the best deals as a business myself. Um, yeah.
No, I'm just kind of fascinated by the thought process behind it. Now, how did you decide where to sell your cookies and granola?
So it was all about honestly door knocking for me. I basically went around with little brown paper bags, like a little lunch bag type of things. I had my Baked by Lucille logo on there, and I had a pamphlet like for the businesses. Like, if you are interested, please give me a call, text, email, whatever. I would love to
Yeah.
have my cookies at your store. So I went around to like probably like 10 locations total, or maybe like 8. But I dropped off one of each flavor to them. And then I called them back about a week after. Most weren't interested, which I think you have to realize when you're going around for something in outreach. It's like most aren't going to be interested, and that's okay, because if you get that one or two, that's like enough just having your cookies at those locations. So I'm lucky enough to have my cookies at 4 local locations right now, and I have good relationships with the business owners. So I'm excited to. I'm not sure if I would like to expand anymore, since I'm doing about 300 cookies a week, and then I have like other activities I'm in as well. But yeah.
So no, that definitely makes sense and stuff. Now, are you doing things like farmers markets yourself, or is it all through these 4 locations? Where else are you selling?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do farmers markets in my town every Friday. And another challenge that I've faced is like knowing how to budget my time and like what events are worth it for me. For example, like as a growing like business myself, and as like the only person like working like
Hmm.
just independently owns, um, I don't think it's worth it to spend like $200 on a market, even if it's like in a more populated area, because like that's coming directly out of like the profits that I would be making. So like instead, I'll go for like my local farmers market, which is like every Friday for 3 hours. I paid like $20 at the beginning of the season, and then $5 for every other like fair, which I feel like is reasonable.
I agree. Like you said, it's interesting you brought that up because I've seen some markets, they're very pricey because, they have a following, whatever. But again, as a small business owner, you have to look at that. If it's a $200 fee, how many cookies do I have to sell just to cover the $200 fee in your time? It may not make sense. So, all right, it's crystal ball time, my friend. 3 years from now, is everyone eating baked by Lucille?
I mean, that's the goal, I guess. Just try to expand it while keeping my quality top notch and what I'm happy about presenting to the consumer. Expanding to stores, but being happy about my profit margin, and then hopefully giving a good amount of my profits towards charitable organizations. As to yeah, that's definitely the goal, because it's sort of like where it started. So it'd be nice to see it go full circle. I have 3 younger siblings who might be looking for some part-time jobs in the future. I don't know if they would take over. That'd
It's
be
funny.
sort of
I was going
scary.
to ask you about that. Is the baking sister going to be helping you out and taking it over someday and stuff? So who knows, right? What's the best way to get in touch with you if people want to learn more?
Yeah, you can totally check out my Instagram, at baked by Lucille. And then if you have any questions, feel free to email me at bakedbylucille@gmail.com. I also have a website linked in my Instagram description.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much.